Hi Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising, this is your March 2017 forecast. So the big news in March is that Venus is going retrograde. So Venus goes retrograde on the 3rd of March and will stay retrograde until the 15th of April. So Venus, that planet of love, affection, relationships and money, when it goes retrograde the focus tends to be on those areas of our life. So let's look at what Venus retrograde means generally speaking and for you specifically. So when Venus goes retrograde, for everyone it's really about finishing up past business with relationships. You may connect with significant friends, partners or lovers from your past, so you may swoop in for a second look or somebody may look you up. Venus retrograde is also a good time to renegotiate the terms of financial situations like bank loans or contracts, and it's also helpful for resolving long-standing legal matters. When Venus goes retrograde and when it goes direct, so the 3rd of March and around the 15th of April, is a good time to change lawyers. Now, Venus retrograde doesn't always have us thinking practically with regards to luxury items, so we may do a bit of impulsive spending that's not too soundly based. But on the other hand, Venus retrograde is very good for getting second-hand bargains, so where you know the real value of something, but the seller doesn't. So let's look at what Venus retrograde means for you. Venus is going to be retrograding in Aries in your 5th house. So this is really going to be good for creative projects, for having a good time, for entertainment, because that's what Venus in the 5th house really enjoys. Now last month you had Venus and Mars in the 5th house, so it's really a passionate period for you that's continuing with Venus in the 5th. So with Venus in the 5th, you can be engaged with several creative projects at the same time. You may feel a lot like entertainment, fun, romance. And of course, with Mars still here until the 10th of March, this is really great for chemistry, and for you this may come in the form of old flames. Perhaps you're feeling nostalgic about a past partner and maybe even romanticizing them a bit more than they deserve. So these are sentiments that you can anticipate at this time. But Venus in the 5th is really great for feeling passionate about personal business projects, passion projects, activities with children. So utilize the creative inspiration, so don't let it slide in favor of social engagements. So set a schedule where you balance creative projects and work, passion projects and having a good time, because Venus will certainly want to do that. So let's look at where the other planets are this month. The Sun is going to be in your 4th house until the 20th of March. And this is the house of home, property concerns, and it's also your innermost personal life. So when the Sun is in the 4th house, it's all about nesting, setting down roots, attending to family and home concerns. So this is very good for relationships with family members and strengthening those ties, or alternatively resolving conflicts with family members. But with this influence, you're really likely to want to be comfortable, set down roots. It also tends to make one more nostalgic for the past, so reminiscing a lot, your mind is on the past, so you're dwelling on these things. But of course this influence is also about property and home, so for some of you this could be around property concerns or renovations in the home. Mercury is also going to be in the 4th house, so after the busy after the busy 3rd house period that Mercury had, Mercury in the 4th tends to be a little bit more reclusive. Like I said, you're more nostalgic about the past, so that's where your mind is at. But Mercury in the 4th, also again, great for conversations and discussions with family members, so communicating about matters that are important to all of you. And also, you'll want to be communicating your innermost thoughts and feelings. So, what's really close to your heart at this time is bound to come up. From the 20th of the month, the Sun moves into your 5th house, and this, of course, is where the nesting period ends. This is where the Sun comes out to play. The Sun has its joy in the 5th house. So it's all about creativity, fun, having, passion projects, what you're enthusiastic about. Also very favorable for romance, particularly with Venus retrograding in your 5th. So like I said, you really might be looking up an old partner or lover, or one of them may be looking you up in turn. So the Sun in the 5th from the 20th onwards, it's all about romance, creative self-expression, passion projects, speculative risks. So with Mercury here as well, your mind is really going to be on mental stimulation in the form of games, reading books, conversations, initiating conversations, self-expression. So reading, writing and games. You're not really thinking or feeling too seriously, so it's more about having fun, more about stimulating your mind, more about socializing, especially with Mercury in the 5th. And with Venus retrograde here. Until the 10th of March, Mars will be in your 5th house as well. So really, like I said, with Venus and Mars in your 5th, it's really about romance, chemistry. And, Mars is going to be applying that physical energy into romance, recreation, sports, creative passion projects. And Mars in the 5th looking for immediate gratification. It's not about candlelit dinners at all. But when Mars moves into the 6th house from the 10th of March onwards, there's going to be a bit of a push and a pull. A balance between Venus, who's going to be very fun-seeking in the 5th house, and Mars in the 6th house, which is able to, from then onwards, delay immediate gratification. Focus on what needs to be done. Mars in the 6th is very job-orientated, very, it's able to tackle a lot of work, so you really want to focus, find a lot of work to do, and just tackle it. So Mars and Venus are going to be balancing each other very nicely, and I think for you it could mean really working hard at things that you're passionate about, being able to defer immediate gratification with regards to creative passion projects, personal business. And also with Mars in the 6th house, it's good. There's a lot of physical energy, and you'll want to siphon some of this out through a vigorous program of physical exercise. So let's look at the aspects this month. On the 1st of March, we've got the Sun conjuncting Neptune in your 4th house. And this can really stimulate an interest in occult and spiritual subjects. It makes one more sensitive, more altruistic, so it fosters connections with others. It's in the 4th house, it's bound to make itself felt with an urge to kind of meditate, to contemplate, to be alone. The Sun and Neptune together can show a bit of a depleted physical energy, so you'll want to have some downtime. You may be feeling a bit exhausted, so meditation and contemplation, an excellent expression of these energies. On the 2nd, we've got Jupiter opposing Uranus from your 11th to 5th house, and this is of course a prominent aspect in 2017. Now this shows a desire for release from restrictions and obligations, and for limiting circumstances, whether this is in a job or relationship. So for you, this is happening in various social houses, so perhaps you're wanting to extricate yourself from social commitments or responsibilities to groups. In some way, this aspect is going to conspire to lessen that tension. So you may find in relationships you also have to give friends or lovers more freedom than usual. They may see you as the source of restrictions and obligations too. So just bear that in mind. On the 4th, Mercury conjuncts Neptune in your 4th house, and much like the Sun and Neptune, Mercury here is very perceptive, imaginative. It's good for creative self-expression and occult and spiritual study. On the other hand, with regards to home and property affairs, you may not want to commit to anything at this time. Mercury and Neptune can always show being misled, not seeing the full picture, so it's not good for legal contracts and sales agreements. On the 5th of March, we've got Mars trining Saturn from the 5th to the 1st house. And this is very good for difficult and demanding tasks. And for you, this could be around personal business, passion projects. But when these two planets are in favorable aspect, work doesn't need to be glamorous or too exotic or interesting for you to be able to buckle down, focus, get things done. Here, the focus is very practical. It's very utilitarian. So, leave the more creative, interesting aspects for another time and rather focus on the nitty-gritty or the hard slog work that needs to be done, because this aspect will help you do it. On the 6th, we've got the Sun conjuncting Mercury, and this is good for having conversations, routine paperwork, initiating interactions, and for you this could be with family members or parents, so having discussions, exchanging ideas, talking about important things. On the 8th, Mercury and the Sun will be sextiling Pluto from the 4th to your 2nd house, and this is very good for resolving problems, getting to the bottom of things. It's very truth-seeking, fascinated by puzzles and mysteries. And for you, this could be around family affairs, budgets. You'll be thinking in a different way, able to solve problems, able to get to the bottom of things. So perhaps if family problems have been eluding you, this will help you get to the bottom of things. So the full moon this month is going to be in your 10th house. So this is quite different from the 4th house focus. So with the full moon in the 10th house, it's likely that you're going to be more visible, you're going to be noticed, Career matters or professional matters can come to a head. There could be a job opportunity. It may also be that professionally you're called upon to showcase your competence or skills. So just be ready to perform at this time. And it can also produce an event that requires you to take charge. On the 17th, the Sun squares Saturn from your 4th to your 1st house. So this is angular and it's quite a difficult, although luckily a brief transit. It can raise troubling issues. You may find that family members are sources of restrictions or obstacles or creating difficulties. So problems with family members can come up under this one, or they may place a lot of duties and obligations on your shoulder, which you have to fulfill. But at the same time, your energies aren't feeling very high, so this one you'll just have to shoulder through. On the 18th, we've got Mercury conjuncting Venus in your 5th house. And of course, Venus retrograde in the 5th, very good for declarations of love, romantic interests, so this is favorable for those sorts of encounters or taking the initiative in terms of communicating your feelings. Mercury and Venus together can really help you express your innermost feelings, so very good for declarations of love. This aspect also favors business and financial dealings. On the 25th, we've got the Sun conjuncting Venus in your 5th house. And this, again, good for relationship clarity. So if you've been pondering romantic issues or wondering where a relationship is going, particularly a new one, this one will give you clarity in that respect. So this is good for self-expression through creativity and relationships. So this can also bring the return of new or old love interests. So it makes you attractive to them and they seem attractive to you. On the 26th, we've got Mercury conjuncting Uranus in your 5th house. And this is an exciting aspect. It's got a fast tempo. You're feeling very mentally stimulated. It fosters creativity, originality, inventiveness. And in your 5th house of passion projects, personal business, this can be very good for creative thinking. On the 28th, we've got a jam-packed new moon in Aries in your 5th house. So we've got the Sun and the Moon, Venus, Mercury, and Uranus all in Aries. And in your 5th house, this is bound to pack quite a punch. The 5th house is that house of creative self-expression, entertainment, romantic inclinations. So this can really favor the startup of bold creative projects, personal business projects, activities with children. And romantically, this new moon could really inspire you to take some risks. So the next 2 weeks, lots of action, lots of energy being thrown into creativity, personal business, or activities with children or romantic interests. So the month concludes with Jupiter squaring Pluto from your 11th to your 2nd house. And this aspect can really show an ambition, striving for power, efforts for success and recognition. And for you, this could be around a group interest or something that's bigger than yourself. So aligning to an altruistic or charitable project could be a very useful expression for this. So projects to reform and rebuild. And for you, you'll be thinking very idealistically and expansively at this time. If you've enjoyed this forecast, please like and subscribe, and thanks so much for listening.